Hey everyone, hope that you're all good. I, I wanted to sort of take the opportunity or the time really to sort of bless anyone who I can with this message. We're in a time where there's a lot of bad news, a lot of pain, a lot of anxiety floating around, a lot of fear in the atmosphere because of this virus and everything that's happening around it. And I think it's important for as many of us as can be really to share good and healthy and uplifting news um, and words as often as we can. So yeah, I hope this message blesses someone, encourages someone, even if it's just one person. I don't mind. That's all good. But yeah, it's just to sort of explain my journey as a person and to show you how God helped me to overcome my insecurities and my weaknesses and my flaws. So since the age of 5 or 6, I've had a speech impediment, which took the form of a stutter, and it evolves, right? So it's good or it's not noticeable at times, but then it's really bad at other times. It's like that. It goes up and down. It fluctuates like that, and it's been doing that since day one, since year 6. Sorry, since I was 6 years old, which is year 2, right? And but from the ages of 6 between 10, I didn't care. It wasn't an issue. I didn't. It wasn't something that I was, you know, self-conscious. It didn't affect my life. I was outgoing. I didn't not speak because of it. But after or around age 10, 11, 12, like that sort of time, I became more aware of it now. I started to become more self-conscious, more, it became a thing that was on my mind all the time. And I started to then become anxious about it, fearful about it. And so what happened was between ages of like 11 to 16, I formed um, or I grew in such a way as to hide the stuff. So what happened was I became a quiet person, a reserved, a shy individual. But that it really wasn't me. It was just I thought I had to be like that in order to avoid painful experiences, in order to avoid embarrassment and all that stuff, and to basically just not feel anxious at all times, because it got to a point now in my life where I would just feel anxious, like very anxious. So I remember I had an experience in year 10, and I'm sure that anyone who's watching who went to school with me might be able to remember this. But I think we had a speaking and listening exam in year 10, and it was my part, and I just I froze. I think I froze, and I couldn't say any words. Like words just wouldn't come out. But it was a result of the anxiety that I had, that was based upon the fear of me embarrassing myself because of my stutter. So that fear led to anxiety, which physically tightened my chest and my lungs so much so I couldn't get any words out. It was impossible. And I just remember walking home that day just feeling, man, like I don't even want to be here. Like, and this would be a thing that I felt often, because I just felt abnormal. I felt handicapped. I felt incomplete. I felt like I couldn't do certain things that I wanted to do. I, when I was younger, I wanted to do drama. I wanted to do music, and I wanted to do uh, what was the other one? A language. I wanted to learn a language. So in year 9 and year 10, when I had to choose which subjects I was going to do, I thought, right, I can't really do drama because, I can't speak. So where's that going to lead me? I'm not going to get any roles like that, am I? So, right then, not drama. Right. A language, French. I mean, I can't really speak anyway. So what's the point in learning a new language? And so what happened was my infirmity, my stutter, directed my life. So anyone who knows me now knows that I write apps, right? Mobile apps, and I write computer software, which I enjoy, by the way. I like it. But I often wonder, what would I have been doing if I didn't have that? Like, where would I be? I'm pretty sure I would have lived a completely different life, which, yeah, it's crazy, really, how your weaknesses, your infirmities can sort of shape your whole life. Um, but yeah, back then, everything that I did was based upon whether or not I thought I could do it based upon my speech. So if it involves speaking, I'm not doing it. If it involves anything to do with being confident in front of people, no, that's not me. But those who know me now know that I preach in church. I speak in front of, or have spoken in front of, hundreds of people. I've There's no fear or anxiety involved in my life at all. It doesn't exist, especially in the area of speaking, especially in the area of being in front of people. All right, but this is literally my weakest area. But yeah, it's the area that I now feel strongest in, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. But yeah, so what happened between the ages of 12 and 16 were I started to form this shy, quiet way of being, because I thought it would limit the amount of stress in my life. But I was just very anxious. It got to the point now where my anxiety was hurting me. It was physically hurting me. So I would feel anxious, and my heart would be beating so hard that my chest would hurt. Yeah, I would feel like I'm at the top of a ride, looking down, about to go down the ride, and that feeling right there where your heart's just beating, it's pounding. That was a daily occurrence. I felt like that all the time. Anytime I knew I had to speak, be in a formal setting or a social, regardless, just anytime I knew that I had to, even answering the phone, anytime I knew that I had to speak, my heart would be racing, and it got to the point where now it would actually hurt my chest. And this was a daily occurrence. I was just anxious. I was scared. Um, I was living in fear because of my own insecurity, my own weakness, my own flaw. And so, yeah, I had to sort of build my life around it. Um, but what happened was, when I was 19 years old, I found God. And since then, I've adopted a completely different way of being, and it's through faith. And what's happened is, since I've made that change in my life, I no longer experience anything that I used to experience, be it anxiety, fear, anything like that. Any impediment that I have, be it a speech impediment or any other type of impediment, um, it doesn't affect my life. I don't allow it to affect my life, out of faith, because I adopted the mindset now where I'm no longer looking at the flaw, right? I'm no longer looking at myself, but I'm looking at God. It says in the Bible, it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," which means that the Lord is my shepherd, which means I've got everything that I need. I don't want for anything. I've got everything that I need. So if the Lord is with me, then I'm all right. I'm cool. That's the mindset I adopted. So now whenever I speak in front of 100 people, I'm no longer thinking about myself. I'm no longer thinking about my own flaws, my own insecurities. I'm thinking about God, and I'm thinking that, you know what, if God is with me, I'll be fine. And that's exactly what happens. The beautiful thing about my faith, the Christian faith, is that you can test it, you can prove it. It says, if you're anxious, let your request be made known to God with thanksgiving, and the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your heart. Now, this is a thing that you can test for yourself. If you're feeling anxious, you can give yourself to God in prayer, ask Him to help, and see if His peace does not fall upon you. It's a faith that we can test. It's not a blind faith. And so I no longer have any of those issues, any of those anxieties. And it's a result of this new way of being, this life of faith. As soon as you look at the mountain, you'll see, you know, how high the mountain is, how long it's going to take to overcome, how you know, no one else has ever climbed this mountain before. But when you start to see the mountain mover, you don't see any of those things anymore. You're not anxious about the size of the mountain, you know, how hard it's been. No, you're just focused upon a God who can help you to overcome, and He does. And so there's this art form, right? Called Kintsugi. That's KINTSUGI, and it's an art form where they take broken things, so maybe like a plate, right, that falls on the floor and breaks, and then they repair or rebuild the plate using glue, but it's not just normal glue. The glue that they use is gold. So they fix the plate again with gold. And so what happens is the plate in its fixed state not only looks as good as new, but it's actually more valuable than it was at the start. And that's exactly what happens when you encounter God. You any part of you that is broken at all is mended with gold, so that the you that comes out of that healing stage is actually a more beautiful and more a stronger and a more value, a richer you than the you that entered in. And so yeah, that's what happened to me. I found God. I overcame all of my issues. Fear, I said this, fear has no place in my life. Anxiety, it's not found in me ever at all. And it's because of this way of being now, this living a life of faith. So yeah, I just wanted to encourage someone that if you're someone who, you know, you've got issues with anxiety or fear, or, you know, you've got a sort of infirmity that you've never been able to overcome, or a thing that is holding you back in life, I can assure you that if you give it to God, if you ask God to help you with it, He will do so. He will help you with it, and He will help you to overcome. And the thing is, I know that there will be some people who are thinking, yeah, well, you know what, that might have worked for you, but it might not work for everyone. That's cool. That's exactly how I would have felt at the time. If you had spoken to me when I was 16 and said, you know, anything like this, I would have said, yeah, well, I feel anxious, I feel nervous all the time, and it's not as easy as just having faith or whatever. But I'm telling you with a certainty, 100% assurance, no doubt, it's not a guess. This is truth. God will help you overcome your flaws, your weaknesses, your insecurities. If he can do it for me, he can do it for you. I'm a regular individual. There's nothing special about me. If he can take me from where I was to where I am today, he can definitely do that for you. 100%, 100%. So yeah, if there's anyone watching who is maybe wants to know more, or you do have those anxieties or fears, or you've got a thing that you want to overcome, or you just want to get to know God more for yourself, then you can message me, and I'll be happy to talk to you at any time. So yeah, I hope that you will have a blessed day, and hope that someone, maybe one person, two people, were encouraged by this. And yeah, I hope to see you all soon.
Ancient of days, rock of all ages, ancient of days.